Well, welcome to another Hoggs vlog. It's great to be here with you yet again after another wonderful game last night between India and England. England were just blown out of the water by India. But anyway, let's have a quick look. Mukul, thanks very much for joining me. Manish, Surav, Rafan, Quinnick, thanks very much, guys, for joining me. Let's get into it. What was the turning point yesterday in the game between England and India for India to take the game away? Let's find out on Hoggs Vlog. Roll the bumper, please, Shubs. Well, let's get straight into it. The first point, Virat Kohli opening the batting. I really like the fact that Virat's taking that role up the top because he can bat through the innings. He times his innings beautifully. We know that he has that ability to make up the run rate in the final 5 overs, but I just think having full 6 overs with the power play restrictions where you can only have 2 players out with a new ball coming onto the bat, he can utilise his timing and his elegant batting style, and he's more of a correct technical player rather than a slogger, so he can use all those assets that he's got just to pierce the field and find those boundaries through the gap. And as we saw too, anything short on his hips, he was able to find those 6 balls. So there's a lot of options for him to get that run rate and innings off to a good start in the power play. Generally, if he starts his innings in the middle overs, that's where he slows up a little bit. Now, let's go to the next point. Sorry about that. Yep, here we go. There was his strike rate yesterday, 153, and that was good basics from him in the power play where he got off to a good start, then finishing off the innings. Right. Bhuvi was just incredible. The thing I like about Bhuvneshwar Kumar right now is that he is finding his form. He's finding his feet back in international cricket after he's been out with injury for a very long period of time. Playing in a big match like this where the series is on the line and only going out 3.75 and over was incredible, especially against the dynamite batting lineup like England. He got them off to a good start with a beautiful first over, beautiful bowling in the power play, but it was in the middle overs after Chahar bowled a wonderful over. So Chahar got belted a couple of times, and then in his third over, he came back and was able to tie up Buttler. Virat Kohli used this opportunity to bring in his trump card, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, after that 1 over. It was around about the 12 over mark, and then put the pressure on Buttler. Buttler couldn't get Chahar and Bhuvi away. Tried to play a big shot. The shot was there, he didn't time it, got the wicket, and that was where the game was done and dusted for England in their run chase. I thought England around about that 12th over mark was still in line to win the game, but the brilliance of Bhuvneshwar, just with his variety, change of pace, subtle changes of pace, was incredible. I'll just grab a ball. There's so many varieties that he's got. He's got the general swing ball. I'm going to do it left-handed because I can't do it right-handed. He's got the knuckle ball, but he also rolls the wrist that way and rolls the wrist that way with probably 3 or 4 variety of slower balls, and it's very hard for the batsman to pick up. That is why he is so good. But also that change of pace. If you saw that over after Shahar's, it was the 13th over. Yes, slower balls, and then that quicker Yorker, and Buttler just couldn't pick him up, and that's why Buttler mistimed that last shot. And I just want to have the next point, Jos Buttler, before we get into the questions. Jos Buttler, I think at the moment is the best T20 batsman going around in world cricket. He's very hard to bowl to. He's dominant against spin, pace, and when under pressure, he stays calm and he looks at the areas that are his strength to find the boundaries. He doesn't go out of that comfort zone that he's got. He keeps it very simple. So for youngsters out there who are budding cricketers moving forward, when you're under pressure, do what Buttler does and just stay calm and just think about, right, if I'm going to take a risk, what shot do I have to play that's in my repertoire? Don't do anything that I haven't practiced or I haven't got in my repertoire, and that's why Buttler's so good. Okay, let's get right into the questions right now, and well done to India yesterday. They were just too good. I think the other thing too, just quickly before we get that first question up, or before the first question, England yesterday, their pace battery couldn't adjust to the slower wicket that was provided in that last or the fifth T20 game. Remember, there were 5 T20 games on the same venue, so at some stage the wicket was going to slow up because the curator wasn't able to get on the wickets and prepare them as well as he'd like with a normal international. So remember, all those internationals that we play, generally the curator has to only have 1 wicket to prepare for the series. This curator had to have 2 test matches plus 5 T20 cricket matches. I think he's done a wonderful job, and we're just seeing that England have that weakness on the slower wickets with their pace battery, so they might have to find some options there going into the T20 World Cup. Okay, just cleaning my glasses quickly before I get into the questions so I can read them clearly. First question, Mukul Sharma, thanks very much for getting on board and supporting me there, getting your question up front with that little payment. How are you doing, mate? I'm going really well, mate. What do you think of Kohli Rohit opening combination? Seems like Sachin Sehwag combo. Do you think Kohli Rohit will be openers leading to the T20 World Cup? Dangerous. For me, I really like these two opening the batting because they both of them have got a correct technique, and both of them like to time the ball. Both of them like pace on the ball as well. So easy for them to play those conventional shots, pierce the field and find the boundaries. You look back at and look, both players have complemented each other. I think the game before, Rohit Sharma got into rhythm and Virat Kohli was pushing the 1s and 2s and allowing Rohit to take charge. And yesterday, Virat Kohli took charge. So I think it's a very good combination. The thing I liked about the Sehwag-Tendulkar combination is that Sehwag was a little unorthodox. Tendulkar was very correct, and it was very hard to get into the rhythm to bowl to those two particular players, especially up front in the power play. And if they batted through those middle overs as well, it was very difficult because you were trying to keep, as a spinner, you were trying to keep Sehwag off strike because you know that he could really do more damage than Tendulkar in finding the big sixes. But when you had Tendulkar on strike, he was trying so hard to keep him on strike, but he was just able to work the 1s and 2s. And when he was doing that, he'll put pressure on you, and then you bowled that bad ball and he hit the boundary. And that's what it could be like for Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, because when both of them are on song, they've seen a lot of the ball in those middle overs, they can take the game away, as we've seen through this series. Good question there, Mukul. Next question, Niraj Chowdhury. How are you going, Niraj? Saini has been dropped from one-day international and in test looks far down the pecking order. Do you think he will slow down to be more accurate, same as how Yadav, Ishan Bumrah have done? Loved your bowling action. Thanks very much, Niraj. Saini, I think if you look at all the greats of the fast bowling department, they found a way to move the ball in the air. And this is what Saini's got to look for. If he can get that shape, that swing, and just bowl a couple of kilometres slower and then use that extra pace as a change-up delivery, he'll be more threatening. As we saw yesterday in the T21 days, Virat Kohli was starting to get the pace of the quick juggernaut from England. And once you get that, you're able to play those clips over a square leg quite easily for 6. You're able to get your timing through the covers. You're just getting used to the pace. So Saini's got to be a little bit more creative. And I think he should go and talk to Dale Steyn. He's probably one of the bowlers in today's era that changed his bowling style. When he first came on, it was all quick. But then he realised that if he wanted to survive a long time out international cricket, he had to find something else and protect his body. So he was able to swing the ball, bowl within himself, And then when he thought he had the opposition on the back foot, he would amp up the pace for a couple of overs, really put the pressure on, and really try and clean up that opposition batting lineup. So that's just smart. So Saini, go and speak to Dale Steyn. Okay, Abhishek Batraji. How you going, mate? Thanks very much for your little competition. Howdy, George. Thanks, mate. Anyone can call me George out there. That was my nickname. Well, not my nickname. It's my first name. It's just that the family, all firstborn sons in my family are called George. George Bruce, George Gregory, George Bradley. So that's why I wasn't called George in the cricket circles. It was more Brad. Why doesn't Wood try slow variations? Abhishek, this is a very good question. He's been putting this team to crack open the opposition batting lineup mainly in the power play with his extra pace. And in doing so, if you don't have any other variety, when you get on wickets like it was last night where there wasn't that extra pace, you could be found wanting. So that's one thing that he has to add to his armoury is extra variations. But the thing is, he's got such a robotic action that it might be very difficult for him to change his wrist to be able to bowl those slower balls as effectively as a Bhuvneshwar Kumar or a Bumrah or even a Jofra Archer and a Jordan as well, just because of that robotic mechanical action that he has. But he's got a place in the team, and I think he hits that back of the length all the time as well. It might not just be the variations in the air, but the variations in length as well. I think one thing that he's got to add to his repertoire is a good Yorker out leg stump and a good wide Yorker as well. If he can be more consistent in those two deliveries, he's got another weapon up his armoury. He's just too, how can you say, too robotic. He's too easy to read. He's bowling the same stuff all the time, so he does need to add some variety. Good question there, Abhishek. Next question, please, Shubs. Mitran Rajesh. How going, Mitran? Do you think Virat Kohli should be a full-time white ball opener after last night's knock? With the likes of Suryakumar coming in, you got Ishan Kishan as well. Eyes starting to produce down the lower order. You got Pant. Hardik Pandya got an opportunity last night. I thought that was a good move last night with Hardik Pandya coming up the order because he's been found wanting with that extra pace. He needed an opportunity, and now that gives him confidence with the other batters down the lower order going into the T20 World Cup. So good move there by Kohli. But for me, Kohli, with that firepower down the lower order, I think he should be opening the batting in both forms of white ball cricket with Rohit Sharma. I think that would be a good contribution. And then let the youngsters just fire away in that middle over. It's going to be an exciting time for Indian cricket moving forward. You've got the greats with good timing at the top, and then you've got the inventive batsmen in the middle with the likes of Ishan Kishan, Pant and Suryakumar, as well as Hardik Pandya. And I think Iyer in that middle order can be utilised as a power hitter, but also as a stabiliser as well. He's been shown to be effective in both of those roles. So for me, Mitran, I think Virat Kohli opening the batting. Next question, please, Shubs. Ashik Singh. Which one can be a better trio for India heading to the World Cup T20? Bhuvi, Bumrah, Shami, or Bhuvi, Bumrah, Natarajan? Ashish Singh. This is a very difficult question. You definitely need Bumrah and Bhuvi in there. I'd actually... it depends what type of wicket is. If it's a slower wicket, I might go with Natarajan. If it's a quicker wicket, I'd go with Shami. But just remember, in those final overs, Shami gets a lot of reverse swing as well. So I'd be very tempted to stick with the older brigade and have Nataraj in as your backup bowler. So for me, If I'm going into the T20, I'm going Bhuvi, Bumrah and Shami at this present stage. Good question, Ashish. Maybe think about that one. But Natarajan, how good has he been? He's really come of age, and I'm just so glad he's got those opportunities. Someone just from Tamil Nadu, playing a little bit of T20 cricket, gets an opportunity to play Test cricket, one days, and T20 cricket for India. And now he's up there as discussed as one of the first in the 11 pick, so it's just amazing how it just changes. Surav Shaw, sorry about that, just had a rant about Natarajan. What happens with when Jadeja is fit? Who do you think will be replacing him, or what do you think should be replacing him, or who do you think should be replacing him? Jadeja, when he is fit, I just think it's a like for like. I think he'll come in for Washington Sundar just with his batting and his left arm off spin. I just think he offers so much there. But in saying that, the way that the two right arm leg spinners have bowled in this series, it just looks as though opposition teams have found a formula to take on the leg spin. So I think India might be thinking, right, we might play Jadeja, who's a left armer, spinning the ball away from the right-handed bats, and you've got the right-hander who's very good, right arm off spinner who's very good against the left-handed bats. So, and both of these players are excellent fielders and add something with the bat. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the T20 World Cup they have Jadeja and Sundar in the 11, and they might drop the leg spin option in the T20 World Cup. They'll still have the leg spin option in the squad, but whether they play them in the 11, especially against England, will yet to be seen. So good question there, Surav. Plenty of options there for India in that department. Krishna Kumar Govindarajalo. That's a long name. Krishna Kumar. With Boomer and Jadeja coming back, what's India's starting 11 for the T20? Well, I think Hardik, Pandya batting out 6, so I think we might have the same lineup that we had last night with the batting department. I think you have Jadeja, Sundar, Bhuvi, Bumrah and Shami making up that final 11. So you've got extra batting depth as well. Thakur was providing that extra batting depth now while Bumrah wasn't there and Jadeja wasn't there. So this is a good thing about the Indian lineup. They can mix and match. They can bring Thakur in, who can handle the bat and bowl some medium pace if need be. But if they want to go for the extra all-round spinner, they can go for Jadeja or Sundar or both of them with their extra batting depth as well. So plenty of options there. I'm a bit worried being an Australian with our chances in this T20 World Cup, because India just looks so dominant on international soil. All right, next question please, Shubs. Sachin Japujari, I hope I said that right. Do you think Rishabh should bat number 4 always, mate? Thanks very much, mate. And thanks for everyone who's getting online at the moment. Hope you're enjoying it. Rishabh batting at number 4 always. I think so, because if you're going to open with Rohit and Kohli and then have Suryakumar coming in out 3, I think it would be a wise option to have the left-hander coming in at number 4 just to break up the lines and lengths of the opposition bowling. But also Pant is very dominant against spin as well. So spinners normally come in those middle overs, and they're normally operating around the 10 over mark, 12 over mark. So that's probably the area where he's most likely to come in. So for me, I think Pant should always be out number 4, but in saying that, if they lose 2 early wickets, I'd like to see I'd like to see a little bit of rotation there, where I would come in if it was if they lost 2 early wickets in the power play. So yeah, in one sense, yes, always out 4, but if they lose 2 early wickets, have that flexibility where I can come in front of him before the 6 over ends. So I hope I've answered that question quite well, Sachin. That's the way I'd go about it. Aditya Nasail, how are you going? Or would that be Nasale? Not quite sure. But Aditya, thanks very much for joining me. Whom will Ishan replace after being fit? Will it be Sky versus Ishan at number 3? Oh, that's a difficult question. I think Suryakumar Yadav has got the number 3 spot right now. I just think his variety of shots, the array of shots, being able to hit the boundary 360 degrees is very difficult to bowl to, very difficult to contain. I think he adds a different kind of spark than Ishan Kishan. So for me, I think Ishan Kishan is going to be one of the backup batters, and Ishan Kishan can virtually bat anywhere in that top 3. So for me, he's a backup batter. Suryakumar's definitely got the number 3 spot. I can't see Ishan Kishan taking that spot right now. So that's where I see that, Aditya. But gee, he's a fine talent, Ishan Kishan. India just too good with the depth of batting at the moment and bowling. Abhishek S, how are you? Where will India place KL Rahul? I think KL Rahul, I think he is probably behind Ishan Kishan now in the waiting list, but he'll be sitting there. He's a good backup. He can bat anywhere in the order, as he's proven before, but he's also a backup keeper as well, a handy backup keeper in T20 cricket. So for me, I can't see him in the starting 11 unless Pant is injured. So for me, KL Rahul right now is the backup keeper for this Indian T20 team. It might be for the one-day international team as well, with the way that Suryakumar Yadav batted the other day. Next question, please, Shubs. Jinkia Jishpande. Hey, Hoggy. Love your channel. Thanks very much, mate. What do you think should be India's top 4 batting order for the World Cup? For me, Kohli, Sharma, Suryakumar Yadav, Pant out number 4. But if they lose 2 early wickets in this first 6 overs, then I can be a bit of a floater and come up and take the reins there, because I just like the way that he's able to control the innings, be a little bit more conservative, and just get that momentum back in India's favour. So that's how I see the top 4 for India moving forward. Next question, please, Shubs. Tanmoy Chakraborty, how are you, mate? Good to see you again. Will the selection dilemma increase after IPL performance of KL and Shikhar? Have you got COVID vaccine? I've gotten. No, we don't have the COVID vaccine over here at the moment in WA. So we've got to wait for a while yet. Actually, we've been pretty lucky over here. Where we are in WA, we've hardly had any cases, so we've been very, very fortunate. IPL performance of KL and Shikhar, I don't think that's going to change anything with the T20 World Cup selection. The only way that those two will have another opportunity to get back in this 11, if the likes of Suryakumar Yadav don't perform and Ishan Kishan don't perform. So for me, I think that both of those particular players are on the back foot right now. So, very good question, Tamoy. Rajesh Kumar, ask Hoggy, if you get an opportunity, will you be the bowling coach for India? I don't know what I can offer the Indian bowlers at the moment. Look, I just think the Indian bowlers right now have got a great setup. They've got a great analysis person on board as well, and I think if you're looking at the bowlers now, they'll have their own individual coaches where they talk about their technique, and they'll rub off when things aren't going right. So they're the personal coaches outside the bubble that they'll be talking to. But now most of them are very experienced, and they'll be able to go to the analysis and work out their game plans with against the opposition teams. So I think the experience, their diligence makes them as individuals high quality bowlers, and I don't think they need much help with a bowling coach. Really, the bowling coach is only there to make sure he's got the resources there to with the analysis and with the training programs to make sure that they're fully fit and executing their skills to the best of ability under pressure in training so that they perform like they do at their peak in the middle. So for me, I'd love the opportunity as a bowling coach, but it would be one of the most difficult jobs going around because you've got such quality there. I think it would be very enjoyable to work with the younger spinners coming through and the younger quicks as well in that particular role, but also to rub off with the experienced players as well to add to your knowledge. I'd love an opportunity to do that job. Good question there. But anyway, thanks very much for joining me, guys. You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at Brad_Hogg. And let's enjoy the one-day series coming up. Can India keep their dominance over England through this tour? Thanks, guys. Have a great day.